I'm going to start by looking at how you would edit a document normally without using styles. You'll see everything is going to be in this document is going to be in the normal style. I don't differentiate in headings, within paragraphs. Everything is in the normal style. And when I have something within the text that I want to format in a distinctive way, such as these lines, which we'll pretend are a poem, I would highlight them. Right-click within that paragraph to get a context menu. Choose the paragraph option. And I want to reduce the spacing. I want to eliminate the spacing in the paragraph. So I go down to spacing and I change after to 0. Press OK. And there you can see I have something which looks a little bit more like a poem. I'd also move it more centrally by changing the left margin. And there we have it. Another example would be where we've got a section of text which we want to treat as a quotation. So again, we would highlight the text. This time I'll put it into italics using the toolbar. Adjust the margins to make it stand out a bit in the body of the text. And to be a bit more distinctive, I think I'd also write justify. And you'll see that although I've done all these things, the style I'm using is still normal. I'm applying edits to the normal style, but I'm not changing the normal style in any way. Now, I think we could make that a bit wider, but look what's happened when I've made it wider. The chapter has jumped up and left its paragraph behind. So typically I would then press return once or twice to get that chapter heading back where it belongs. And this is typically how you would edit a Word document without really paying any attention to styles or the tools that Word provides. When working with styles, I like to have the navigation pane open. You have to click on the View tab and then click in the navigation pane icon. This opens the navigation pane usually up on the left-hand side of the Word window. At the moment it doesn't contain any information, but once we convert our chapter headings into heading styles, you'll see that they're listed here and allow easy navigation around our document. Go back to the Home tab, and we prepare now to convert our chapter headings into styles. You must make sure that your cursor is in the chapter 1 heading paragraph. If we place the cursor over the heading 1 style icon, you'll see that the text changes. This is previewing the text. It's not actually changing anything. When I actually click on that heading 1 icon, you'll see that a permanent change takes place and a chapter 1 pointer appears in the navigation pane. Now we want to put this back to the way it looked before. And to do that, we can just modify. We can take off bold. We can select our Calibri font. We can take this font size back to 12. And we can make the color black as it was before. The spacing is also different. So we need to do right click to get a context menu. Select paragraph. We're right in indents and spacing is where we want to be. And let's make this 12 and make that 12 and say OK. And then it's looking pretty much how it did before. Now, in order to make sure that the heading 1 is updated correctly, you must right click and then click on Update Heading 1 to match selection. And you'll see the look of that heading has changed, and when we move the cursor in and out of it, nothing happens because the style that that's applying is exactly what we've got here. If we then scroll down to the second chapter heading, currently it says it's normal. So we click on heading 1, we get a second pointer in our navigation pane. Now let's go down to chapter 3, somewhere here. There we are, we click in chapter 3. Again it says normal, but when we click on heading 1, we again have the entry here. We can now use these to navigate. So I click on there, it takes me to chapter 2, click on there, back to chapter 1. And now that's demonstrated how we can use an existing style and then modify it to be the style that we want. There is another way that we can do the same thing, and you may prefer it. Let me just undo all that we've done. We're back where we started. And I think we have to go back. No, we're just there. We're there. Back where we started. This time, you can simply right-click in your chapter heading, get a context menu, click on the paragraph. And what I've done this for is because when you're using text as a heading, you want to make sure it always stays with the text that's going to follow. So I'm going to make sure I've got the keep with next ticked. This makes it, this means it doesn't get stranded on the page before. Another thing you might like to note here is that you can set a page break before. So if you like your chapters to be on a new page, then if you click this box, it will always force the chapter heading onto the top of a new page. I'll say OK for the moment. Now, I've modified this, but I haven't yet applied it to the heading. You see, when I do that, it changes. So what I have to do is right-click in here and say Update Heading 1 to match the selection. And you'll see now it's become, the selection's become a style with a reference in the navigation pane. And in the same way as before, we can scroll down and we can apply that style to the other chapter headings in our document. We'll look now how we can create a new style using the existing formatted text that we've created. So if we put the cursor in the first paragraph of this little poem section, and now to create a new style, we need to open up the style box, so style window, and to do that we have to go on this small button here, just beneath change styles. We click on that and the style window appears. And down the bottom of the window there are 3 buttons: New Style, Style Inspector, Manage Styles. Now the only thing we're interested in at the moment is New Style. So let's click on that box and the Create New Style window appears, and it comes pre-populated, and basically it takes up all its information from what the settings are for this paragraph. And it's based on normal, and as we haven't changed anything in normal, it's picking up the Calibri font, the font size of 11, the left justification, and it's also picking up, if we look in paragraph, the left indent and the removal of any spacings between the lines that we put in originally. So basically this is picking up everything, all the information from our existing text, and all we have to do is give it a name. I'm going to call it Poetry. We click OK, and you'll see immediately a new style appears in the style bar called Poetry. We can now highlight the rest of our poem, click on the Poetry style, and each of those paragraphs now is in the poetry style. One thing we can also do here, let's just say that this is actually 2 verses, and what we don't want to happen is at the bottom of the page, 2 lines of a verse to be left on one page and 2 lines on another. So again, we can click in any one of our poetry paragraphs. If we right click the poetry style and select modify, we can go down to format, paragraph, and we can go to line and page breaks, and like we did with the headings, tell it that the line should stay together. Click OK, OK again. And now all that text, we don't have to do any updating anywhere else because these are all in the poetry style, that keep with next has been passed through to all the lines. So now let's go on and look at creating another new style, this time for our quotation section. Again, it's the same process. We click on New Style, the Create New Style box opens, window opens. We give it the name quotation, and we can save it, and we now have, as before, a new style here, and we can then use that and apply it. Let's say we had another paragraph here. Where should we go? Here. Another paragraph. We can apply the quotation style to it, and immediately the margins are set, the italics is set. So we can apply that format now to anywhere where we're dealing with a quotation. Now let's just say that again we think this is just a little bit too inset, so we'll just move that paragraph, bring it into about there. I think that looks a bit better. Now remember, if you want to apply that to all your quotation, you have to click Update Quotation to Match Selection. And then wherever you look that you've used the quotation style, you'll see that the margin, left margin, has also been changed to match. It's one of the great strengths of styles, that if you think you want to change something, instead of having to go through the whole document searching for similar paragraphs, changing the style modifies every bit of text that is in that style. I think that's where we're going to halt in these sessions for the moment, and we'll pick up from there in the next session.